All right, good evening, everyone. It's Flex and Joe. I'm back with another recap to discuss the VIX strategy with NQ and ES. Today, we'll be discussing Halloween, Thursday, October 31st, 2024. So, pretty scary day for the bulls. If you like that dad joke right there, we did nothing but drop the entire session and drop pretty hard. So beginning with ES, at 4 p.m. we closed at 58.53. The following morning we opened up at 58.07, an overnight drop of 46 points on a daily ATR of 63 points. So really sizable move down. We were under the previous day's low, under the previous day's close, very bearish EMAs, and this rejection on VWAP with the CBC flip was pretty telling, and it just continued to dump. I think this long wick here did give people some false sense of buying, but quickly that was overtaken and it continued lower for the remainder of the day. If we look at NQ, similar story here. We closed at 5.34 at 4 p.m. We opened up at 3.66, nearly a 200-point drop. And you can see overnight we were just incredibly bearish. The 10-minute EMAs never crossed back green until 7 a.m., and at which time they failed to move higher. This was a news candle. This was 8:30 news. This was like GDP news and some unemployment news. And so this candle flipping bearish on news is very telling, and then they continued to not be able to flip it back bullish through the open, and finally it started to drop through VWAP right before the open, and it just fell off a ledge, right? Like, I actually even joked that this was like Leonidas kicking somebody into the hole type of thing, because it just dropped. And while this doesn't look like a huge drop on the screen, you know, just keep in mind that in the first 30 minutes here, this was a 218-point drop. So one con would have turned into almost $4,400 short on NQ there. So very, very sizable drop. And then from there, you know, again, the prevailing trend of being bearish is what continued into really big earnings on Thursday night. You had Amazon, Apple, and a few others, right? But Amazon and Apple being the two big ones reporting earnings. So let's look at the VIX, right? How was the VIX setting up? So the VIX was setting up with a large gap up, of course, right? So market's gapping down, VIX is gapping up. So you'll see that it gapped up here, and it was gapping up very close to this unfilled gap area. So what I want to do is I'm just going to slide us over to the left here so you can see where this gap come from. So, sorry, I hope nobody gets motion sick. This gap originated from the close on 10.7 to the open on 10.8, and then you'll see that on 10.8, right, it flushed under, respected the opening print some more and continued lower. Again, tried to be over it, respected it, continued lower. And then from there, and you know, I'll go a little bit slower so people don't get sick. I feel like people are gonna get sick anyways. There was never an interaction with this gap the entire way. So when we get back to what we were looking at over here, making myself sick, good God. You know, this was an area that I was looking to see it get filled, right? So we're bearish on the market. You know, VIX is bullish, CBC bullish going into the open, and you'll see here how the higher time frame cloud, the 3450 cloud, does hold, and you know, the CBC flips bearish here. Same thing on the 8:30 news candle. So we'll call that out in a second, and we'll have all three showing, but it pushes up. I really just want to call your attention to this very small area right here. So one of the things that I noticed is that VIX at the end of the 920 candle was here, and then when it opened, it gapped up very high, right? Like, that was a big gap because this is the open of the day, right? And that was as the market was flushing down, and it takes a few moments for VIX to open up. So this gap here didn't get filled. The market pushed, you know, again, it jumped up here from the end of this candle to jump to the start of the 940 candle. And it came down, and when it filled this gap, boom, like, it was off to the races. And that's really where you saw ES take its second leg down following that lower wick, right? Now that I have all three here side by side, let's look at it together. So again, 8:30 news candle flips short on NQ. Again, 8:30 news candle flips short under VWAP on ES. So very telling right here. This is the wick that I'm talking about, that because VIX had popped up and then pulled back down into the EMAs, right, which were just about to cross bullish, that's where you get that buying. ES pushes up just a little bit above its pre-market low and essentially rejects that area and flushes down. So CBC never flipped, right? Your candle by candle never flips. You maintain bearishness. It continues on. You have your first flip here, which looks like maybe potentially some buyers under the, what is the orb low, the opening range, opening 30-minute range low. A little bit of buyers there. Very weak CBC flip. You have a CBC flip here on VIX, you know, very weak, right? You can see that you're not gaining any ground, right? This area now is holding. Really, this is the area where the gap is beginning. This whole little area here, this is close enough, is holding. And ES doesn't flip. So you don't have all three in alignment. You don't do anything, okay? ES continues to be short. VIX flips back long, which is market bearish. This was a great entry for NQ short. If you didn't get it, now that you're back under the orb, this little pullback here was a good entry for it as well, even before you get the flip back short. If you waited for the flip back short, this is a fantastic entry as well. And you can see that this actually turns into a pretty good trade, right? As, you know, you're entering maybe, let's just say, around 130s. Little consolidation doesn't stop you out. This candle moves down. You could easily get, you know, 70 points or something like that, which is $1,400 for one contract. So pretty solid trade there. You get the gap fill. Little basing above the gap, it fails, it comes back down, and really, you know, this is moving a lot. The market's not moving. The market is so overextended to the downside now that this move is just sideways, letting the EMA catch up, and realistically, both of them give you a fantastic 10-minute 20 EMA rejection trade. So this is something you can go back and backtest for yourself, but large moves down, you're under the orb, VIX is very bullish, market is very bearish. That first 10-minute 20 EMA tap, or if you use the 21, you know, that area is very reliable for continuation. And you see that first one, boom, makes a new low. Same thing on NQ, makes a new low. And then you just get some, you know, afternoon shenanigans. This leads into power hour. It looks nice and good. Maybe we're going to get the VWAP, and then it just stuffs it on the algo candle, which is at 15:50 Eastern time every day. Sometimes a little bit earlier. Sometimes it hits at 15:45 Eastern time. You want to just be mindful and watch out for that. So again, I just want to call out one last thing here. When you have the CBC flips, like this one, for example, this is your first CBC flip after such a large move down. You should expect that this is just some profit taking, especially under the orb low. You have some profit taking, and where you don't have all three in alignment, you don't have justification to try the long, especially where you can see just how these candles are interacting and where this is closing here, how this wicked over this and then ultimately closed back down, and the next candle pushed up and started to turn back and come back down. So you had no confirmation for the long, and this was not the long trade to take. So hopefully you guys find this video helpful. If you have any questions, hit me up down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.